Alright, back on some more Deadlock. And I made an oopsies. Yesterday, I decided to play some REM because I was like, hey, I've never played support in this game. I've only ever really just played M1. Terrible idea. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I am a good support because I don't believe that to be true. But maybe this is different in higher ranks, but I feel like support is kind of unplayable. One of those reasons being, of course, that as a support, you aren't the one, carrying the game per se. You're just basically hoping that at least one of your teammates is able to kill stuff. So, from that aspect alone, it is definitely just harder to play support. I think a lot of the reasons why support is kind of not that great right now is actually because there's no draft. I still don't know how there isn't a draft in this game. This game's been out for almost 2 years, I think, at this point, and there still is no draft system. There will be games where you go against the enemy team has Venator, Mina, Dynamo, Silver, and you're like, oh, okay, I lost. Depending on what character you chose to play, it's just an unplayable, unfun experience. And I'm not one of those people, that thinks draft will just save the game and, make it a phenomenal game. It's more of just a band-aid. If you've ever played a game like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals, you'll know that draft does not solve your issues. It actually creates some new issues. Those being, of course, just losing in the draft system itself, where your teammate decides he wants to throw the game and ban one of your teammates, everyone crashes out and you lose the game. Right? So there is that issue, of course. That's kind of just the nature of, pub games in any sort of competitive game, right? Of course, in a perfect world, we would have balanced characters, but that's just not the reality of most games. So, like I said, it would be a band aid, right? You say, hey, they have a Dynamo player, or we really don't want to play against Dynamo. Okay, so we ban Dynamo. You can do that for any character. That's just kind of where I'm going with that. And to quickly circle back to the whole support thing, right now the meta is just gun. For instance, I'll take Apollo, right? Apollo is an extremely strong spirit nuker. He will feel, and he is kind of broken at the start of the game. But as of right now, the start of the game doesn't really matter. You can, drop 0 and 10 at the start, at the first 10-minute mark, go farm for like 15 minutes and win the game, right? Which that in itself feels like shit, and I feel like we should definitely, fix that. But as of right now, gun is kind of just, it's strong at the start, it's strong mid game, and it's super strong late game. And most of these games are lasting a lot longer. So for me personally, the next patch has to have something out there that rebalances this because it's just not fun. A really good example for me at least is Vindicta. I'm a Vindicta player. I have the most hours on Vindicta out of any character, and it's not even close. And this meta is basically gun Vindicta because of her tier 3 upgrade on her sniper, right? So basically what you do as Vindicta right now is at the start of the game, you rack up as many kills as you can get, and then you use that to snowball and get an absolutely absurd amount of gun damage, and her sniper basically becomes somewhat useless late game where it doesn't really do any damage. And for me personally, I think the tier 3 upgrade beforehand, which was it gave you, I think it was 800 souls per kill, that was way better. And to go over where I'm coming from, I don't care about rank right now. I think rank is kind of silly to even care about in the game that's this unfinished and this incomplete. So my goal with this game is just to learn it, right? Just to get better at the game itself. And the reason I even want to learn this game is because it is a fun and challenging game to learn. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But with that being said, I am still a very competitive person. So I don't enjoy losing. I don't think anyone enjoys losing per se. And I'll be honest, yesterday I was crashing out playing Rem. I was not having fun. I kept queuing like a moron. You never queue when you're pissed off. Just don't do that to yourself. But I kept queuing and kept losing. And ironically, there were a few games where I played gun Rem and won. I was hard carrying with gun rem. And I'm not saying it's bad, but it's bad. None of the enemy team bought any sort of gun protective items, which would just completely shut me down. They would be fine. Why play support if you can just play carry and win the game with half the amount of effort? And that's not to say I didn't win at all playing support. There were a couple games where I did win, and it felt good. It was fun. I enjoyed myself. I was doing a shit ton of healing. I was disabling ults with cursed. It was super fun. So I had 93k healing. I had cursed, so I was curse relicking people. I had Arctic Blast. The main reason I picked it was because they had Infernus, and Infernus was building Dash. If you didn't know, Arctic is a really good counter to Dash Infernus, because when he starts dashing, you Arctic Blast him and it stops him from dashing. So it's a really good shutdown. And then of course I had Echo Shard just to constantly heal and upkeep my teammates. This game lasted 67 minutes. It shouldn't be lasting that long. The game is in the state that it is right now. Hopefully it gets updated. I'm really, betting on this game becoming big, but there are a lot of glaring obvious issues that I think should have been addressed by now that haven't been. And that kind of worries me. That's all I'm saying. But to move to something exciting, the Subnautica 2 early access teaser trailer. We had so much bullshit surrounding this game that I thought it wasn't going to be another year. And even so, I didn't think it was going to be until late summer, probably. But it is dropping in 2 weeks from now. Yeah, let's check it out. So we already have like a duo vehicle there. Looks cool. Some sort of new tool, maybe. That straight up just looks like the propulsion cannon. Alright. Oh shit. Dude, we're gonna get... creatures with range attacks. I like that. So yeah, this vehicle is called the Tadpole. It has wings on it that are like collapsible. I wonder if the wings make it go faster or something like that. Because it looks like it does. It has eyeballs on the inside of it. Alright. We actually have some flying creatures now, which is cool. May 14th? 2 weeks. 2 weeks until we get to play this game. I'm hyped. I'm super hyped. So this right here, doesn't it look like it's almost like legs coming out? Maybe I'm reaching. Maybe it's supposed to more resemble like a tree, but it's like organic, which is cool. Because obviously in Subnautica 1, we had a mega structure, which was the Aurora, which was, a human-made crash. It looks like this game will have an organic mega structure, which is cool. That almost looks... Maybe it's more supposed to resemble an island from the first game, who knows? But it definitely looks interesting for sure. I wonder if those are supposed to be eggs, maybe. Who knows? Like, for the flying creatures, right? The eggs for the flying creatures. Maybe that's what's going on. It seems like this game has a much larger map from the trailers, at least. Like, all the areas seem very large, which in hopes leads to larger creatures in a more ocean feeling map. I would say the first game does this fine, where there are areas that are large enough that feel like a vast ocean. Subnautica Below Zero, on the other hand, did not feel that way. Most of the areas of the map were teeny tiny, and it kind of ruined the immersion a little bit. So, and then obviously multiplayer game, so it'll actually be co-op, which everyone wanted. But yeah, I'm hyped.